Good evening, gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of the Blind Pig via BGObsession.com. I always fail to say that part, so nobody actually knows what we're representing. I also am very bad at introducing everybody. So today I'm Derek. I'm Silent Threat on the board. We got John, who is Boone, Mark, who is Ohm, and then Bob, who is Neophyte. For you visual people, you saw the response. If you're listening, I got nothing for you. You'll have to figure out which voice goes with who. This week, we're going to break down kind of a season in review preview and go week by week and take a look at what the NFC East and maybe how we think it's going to shake out. But before I get started, of course, I got to throw a little bit of a curveball. 4 p.m. Eastern this afternoon locked down the ability for nobody to negotiate a long-term deal with franchise tagged players. And Brandon Sheriff did not get a tag or get an extension. So we've kind of talked about Sheriff a little bit. I think the last time we talked about him on a pod was right around the same time he got tagged. But curious what your initial reaction is. We talked a little bit about it on the board, but curious what your reaction is to no deal for Sheriff. He's playing on the tag, and he's probably gone after this year.
Finally. I'd probably be a lot more generous. You know, we were going back and forth on the site about it. Mark was taking the human, kind, responsible approach, and I was ranting. But I think I'd probably be have a lot better attitude about it. Him more likely being gone if it wasn't for kind of the Kirk Cousins era that kind of tainted me as far as my attitude. And I did look up today, like how much has Brandon Sheriff made in his career, just to kind of see, you know, how much of the money thing would be a factor. And it's almost $49 million, including this season. So it's kind of weird to me because I don't think he's going to get re-signed because I think it would be done. I think we all recognize that. But it's just kind of weird to me. It seems like an odd time, unless it's just all about the money. It seems like an odd time to not want to stick with Washington because all signs are pointing to a resurgence and maybe really great things coming. So it just strikes me as odd. But I guess it depends on who signs him, right? Maybe he goes to some other up and coming team or established perennial playoff team. But that's kind of my reaction. Is I'm just disappointed. I'm not mad at the guy. He's a good guy, but disappointed.
Go ahead, Bob. You got something. I can see it.
I was just going to say, it has occurred to me. I mean, it's not like the guy's been injury free his career throughout his entire career. 18 million is not a bad way to go out if you're going to retire. He's going to be 30 by the end of the year. He may be contemplating the end. I mean, let's face it, for a guard, how many guards play? I don't know what, another 2 years, maybe 3 years. Think about the number of injuries he's had. When's the last time he completed a full season? I don't know. I hate to lose the first bona fide all-pro the Skins have had in, what, a decade or more? I mean...
Matt Turk.
Matt Turk was the last all-pro. Wow. The fact that Derek had that off the top of his head is impressive because But, I mean, I hate to give that up, but at the same time, who pays a guard $18 million a year?
Well, go ahead, Mark.
We're going to this year. There's so many ways that I've looked at this as a football team fan. I would love to re-sign the guy at I'm not as good at the numbers as you guys are, but at 15 million a year for 3 years. Yeah, it's a no-brainer. You plug him in. I don't think he is going to accept that. And I don't think if he was my son, this is the other angle I keep coming back to. If my son is Brandon Sheriff and he's where he is right now, I'm telling him, dude, you got 3 or 4 more years to play. You retire. This is your chance at the big ticket item. Try to find the right balance of a top contract on a team that you're not going to hate yourself for playing for. If that's Washington, great. If somebody else, if Seattle comes to you and wants to give you that big contract with 40 million guaranteed and an average 20 million a year, it's a no-brainer. You take it. And I do the same thing. I'm not without loyalty, but if I'm looking at it as his agent, as him, for his future and his kids' future and his grandkids' future. He's got a chance to put another $50 million in the bank and be set in perpetuity. His grandkids will never have to worry about money. So that's where I kind of come down on this. I hate that he's missed a lot of games, but that makes it a little easier to see him go away after next year too.
So to answer your question, Bob, the last All-Pro for the Washington Redskins was Matt Turk in 1996.
Wow.
I believe that's
So-
25 years.
Yeah, I was going to say that's. I said
The only thing I remember about Matt Turk is he might have had some anger management issues, but other than that,
Well, that's why he kicked it so hard. But so the question I posed, or to answer, my response is I think that Rivera and company decided to move on from Sheriff before they even tagged him. I think that was part of the plan. They knew he was going to price himself out of a market within this team. So they looked at 2020 and 2021, said we have a surplus of the cap. We don't have his heir apparent. We don't have an expensive contract for a quarterback, a defensive end, a wide receiver, a middle linebacker, all of your high ticket, high dollar items. Let's keep him here, tag him, play another season. They knew what this roster looked like. We were all talking about less than a year, 18 months ago, we were talking about how this might be one of the worst teams this team has had. And now PFN just had us ranked 12th. You know, Rivera and company probably looked at that and said, we tag him for 18 million and we have a roster that can make some noise in the league next year. And we can sign and draft his heir apparent. They traded for Flowers. Now they're literally only paying 33.3% of his contract. The Dolphins are paying him double what we're paying him to play here.
Mm-hmm.
They drafted Cosme. They've brought in multiple different people that can play. Schweitzer looked decent. You know, now you've got Lucas who showed up a little bit. Moses is gone. So
Sadiq Charles.
you've got maybe Sadiq Charles that can play guard. So now you've got like at least a three-way battle to take over at left guard.
Well, and you stop and think about it. If this team does anywhere near what we all think they're going to be doing, they're going to be drafting in the mid-20s of the first round. Nobody
Right.
blinks if you take a guard in the mid-20s.
Right.
And it's possible that if he walks, left guard's the, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm going to say this. Left guard's the weakest spot on the team next season. I
Yeah,
don't
that's-
know. I'm just
it
thinking
might not-
out loud.
It might not be though, because like I said, you've got Flowers. Maybe Cosme balls out, and if the season doesn't go the way you planned and you're picking top 10, you've got your ability to get a tackle.
Well,
Cosme
Wes-
moves to your full-time guard.
Wes Schweitzer keeps getting some love too. So
Right.
we're not without options for 2022 and beyond now. And that's
they're
without
also
drafting.
they're also looking at left guard is important, but it's not something that's irreplaceable. But we have some guys whose contracts are coming due, their first big pay me contract, that even in the absence of any challenges, it's going to be a challenge to sign them. And so I think they're looking at that. Like they'd love to make sure all of his dreams come true. But with setting that bar where it is, I just think they're worried that they're more important cogs in the machine that they're going to have to take care of. And so they have to, you can't have everything, I guess, is the bottom line.
There's only one thing you can't have, and that's everything.
Right.
Sorry.
I think, John, I think you just brought up a brilliant point. And at the end of the day, you can get a really good guard for $5-6 million a year. You can't get Jonathan Allen for $5 or $6 million a year after his rookie deal's up.
Or McLaurin.
Right.
No, exactly. Or McLaurin.
Or Sweat.
Or
Yeah,
Gibson.
or oh my gosh, who's the other guy on the defensive line? Hell, and
Payne.
they're gonna have to pay
Deron
Ioannidis
Payne.
at some point in time too. I mean, he's not a starter, but the dude could start anywhere else in the league.
Settle. I mean, you can run down the names of an emphasis. So
Yeah.
a quick follow-up, it popped up on Twitter that somebody said if we let Sheriff walk and he becomes an all-pro, Rivera's to blame. Now I'm not going to put my chips in that because as you
already
talked
an all-pro.
about, continue to be, signs a 5-year deal and he's an all-pro enough times to make you regret it. So what is that? 2 all-pros?
They franchise tagged the guy. They made him, a guard, for God's sake. They love him. They love him. That's
Right.
not in dispute. It's just about You know, they've tried to make a deal. I mean, I guarantee you they've done everything they can to make a deal, but you can't pay a guard $20 million plus a year. You just can't do that.
And here's to answer your question, Bob. The last time he played 16 games was in 2016. Since then, he's played 14, 8, 11, and 13. Now, full disclaimer, last season, he only got put on IR because the season, well, no, not last season, the season before, 2018, after 11 games, he got put on IR because we were, 3-10 at that point? You know, so if we were in a playoff hunt or something, he probably plays. Similar scenario in 2014, or in 2017, sorry. 2018, I believe, is when he tore his pec and he was done. There was just no coming back from that. So hypothetically, in a playoff team, he might have completed 2 of those 4 seasons. But again, are you paying a guard? Back to the point, if you sign him to a 4-year deal and his contract or his statistics mimic the last 4 years, I don't think he's worth it.
Okay, look, the guy's the first Washington All-Pro in 25 years, but he's not John Hanna. We're not talking about a Hall of Fame candidate at guard here. He's not the second coming of Russ Grimm.
I don't even think he's John Jansen. I don't even think he's John Jansen. I mean, he's super solid. I don't know. I've just never looked at him and said he's the most dominant guard in the league, or even
Quentin Nelson is number 1.
So I mean,
so it's kind of a win-win, right? If he balls out for us this year and gets his big contract, cool. We got a great year out of him, and then he's gone, and we got young guys. If he doesn't ball out and he plays 13 games again, and nobody offers him a huge contract, guess who's got the inside track to maybe re-sign him?
And it was a brilliant move not to pay him a big, massive deal.
Yep. So
all right, so we can move on. I'll close the Matt Turk stats window on my computer here because it's been a lot, and get to the beef here. So we're gonna break down the NFC East, take a look week by week, so we can kind of see a running tally of how things go. And I'll share my Excel screen. Sorry if this turns into a everybody's worst nightmare on a Zoom call at work, but we'll make it happen.
As long as nobody asks questions at the end, we'll be fine.
Well, I figure we can run down, we can get a totals, and then we can kind of debate what might happen in the playoffs and things like that. So I put this together, and I'll just run down. For those watching, I'll just put a 1 for if it's a win, a 0 if it's for a not, and then down here at the top bottom, we'll see win totals, and this will get posted on the board so everybody can make fun of us when we're completely off base and have no idea what we're talking about. So week 1, Washington's playing the Chargers at home. New York's playing the Broncos at home. Philly's at Atlanta. Dallas is at Tampa. How do we think that shakes out? I can put mine in, and I can let y'all while y'all talk about it.
So I think this is, I'll end the suspense. I got us as winning the game, but I think this could even be like an overtime field goal at the end of regulation kind of win. Justin Hebert is a baller, and he's going to give us fits with our new defense still trying to figure its way around. But I think we'll have enough, and I think Ryan will have a really nice first game, and we'll outscore him 38 to 37 or something like that.
What about the Giants? What do you think? Giants beat the Broncos at home?
Oh, you want me to go through each of them? Yeah,
not?
I think the Giants are going to beat the Broncos because I don't think the Broncos will be ready. That happens later in the year. They don't.
That's definitely the wrong person. All right, Philly at Atlanta.
I was going to help you out, but
What? Go for it.
Figured you'd find it.
The Eagles are going to get their asses kicked in Atlanta on opening day.
And Dallas at Tampa.
No, Tom Brady doesn't lose that game on Thursday Night Football in the opener. That's a Dallas loss.
So, all right, you're up, John. What do you think?
So everyone, all the NFC team East, we're going to kick the Chargers' butt. They've got a brand new head coach, I believe, right? Brandon Staley, isn't that right?
Yeah.
I think we're going to crush them on opening day. I think Dallas wins against the Bucks, believe it or not. I think that's going to be a big game for Dallas. And I just think the Bucks are going to come in like most Super Bowl champs, with Sleepy at the wheel to start out. Giants are going to beat Denver, who was only 5-11 last year, and Philadelphia is going to lose against the 4-win Falcons from last year.
You're up, Bob.
I think Washington wins that. I think Washington wins that first game. It's at home, and West Coast teams tend not to do great when they come to the East Coast. And I think Rivera's going to have the guys ready to go.
I believe that is a 1 o'clock game.
I'll give that to New York. They're playing at home. Denver's got to come down from the mountain. So I think that's New York. Philadelphia is going to get crushed. The
Kyle Pitts show. Is that going to be the Kyle Pitts show?
I was just about to say, we may see the single best first game from a tight end in the history of the league that day, because the Eagles defense is going to be lousy.
The Falcons also have a new head coach. Don't forget, Arthur Smith, right? I believe.
Yeah.
But I agree with you on Kyle Pitts.
And there's no way Tom Brady loses that game on opening day. There's no way he gets a ring and then loses. And it's the first time Dak's going to take snaps under center in how many weeks? I think Tampa Bay comes out and punches Dak in the mouth early, and he remembers that he's got to play football, and it hurts. So there you go.
So I got Washington beating the Chargers. I think the defense is going to be hyped up. I just think that's going to be a little bit too much for Herbert, even though he's going to be a baller. I think the offense is going to be riding a little bit high, kind of take the shackles off McLaurin and Gibson. I think we won't see much of them in the preseason, so we might see a little coming out party there. We got the Giants losing to Denver just because I think the Giants are going to be bad and I hate them, so I'm just going to give them the loss. I'll eat that one. The rest of y'all think they beat them. Philly's not going to beat Atlanta. I think the offense is too big, and I don't see Dallas beating the Bucs unless the Bucs come out sleeping. So John might be onto something, that they might come out with that playoff high, but we'll see what happens. Week 2, Washington's playing the Giants. Obviously, that's going to count for 2 of these games. And then Philly's playing San Fran, and Dallas is at the Chargers. Who's got what?
Why don't I not go first? Why don't you go left to right in the order? I jumped in there too quick before.
You're fine. All right, John, rock it out. I'll finish.
Okay, we're going to break the recent historical trends, and we're going to whoop the Giants at home for our second win in a row. Let's see. New York is going to lose as a result of that. The Eagles are going to surprisingly beat the 49ers. And I think Mark mentioned earlier that their little water bug quarterback is going to show up in some games, and teams may not be able to stop him. And I think that might be one of those games. So I have them winning. And then Dallas is going to lose to the 7-9 Chargers from last year, coming off their big upset win over the Bucs.
And extended rest, because that Bucs game's Thursday night football to open the season. What do you got, Bob?
Yeah, I'm with John. I think we beat New York for the first time in 2 years. And I think John's smoking dope. I don't think there's any way San Francisco loses to Philadelphia, but okay. And
John's zigging when we're all zagging a little bit here.
They won one more game than them last season.
And I actually like Dallas to beat the Chargers after a long rest. I mean, Dallas is traditionally pretty good the week after their Thanksgiving Day game because they've got an extra couple of days. That's effectively what we're doing with the first and second weeks of the season here. I think they do pretty well against the Chargers.
Mark.
I think we lose to the Giants in New York because we always lose to the Giants in New York, and we'll be fat and happy after beating the Chargers.
That's a home game. We don't play at New York until the end of the season.
Yeah, we're at home.
Oh, I got it backwards. I had us losing on the road. So switch that to a 1. We went up there. It ain't pretty, but we went up there.
9-6. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I'll go. That may be right. Philadelphia is going to get rolled in San Francisco. San Francisco is tough at home. Garoppolo's playing for his job and his career. No way. And Dallas,
I can't wait for these games.
Dallas is, this is the kind of game that the fucking Cowboys always win, that they should not. But I'm not going to let them. They're not going to do it. They're going to lose out to the Chargers. The Chargers are coming off an opening day loss. They're stinging. They take it out on Dallas.
Lips to God's ears.
All right, we beat the Giants. I got you there. So obviously this is a 0. I think Philly loses to San Fran. Philly starts 0-2 at my juncture, and I think Dallas finds a way to beat the Chargers for no god awful reason other than you look at that game and say there's no reason you should win that game. Then the Dak hype train is up. He's probably thrown for 400 yards and a couple touchdowns that game, and everybody goes lose their mind because that's just how it works. Week 3, Washington is at Buffalo. I would be shocked if I don't know the answer to this one. New York hosts Atlanta. Philly is at Dallas, so that'll round out the last 2. John, what do you got? Washington at Buffalo.
We're going to lose that game, but it's going to be close.
Bob?
This is the game where we find out what we've got on offense, because Buffalo's defense is tough. I think it's going to be very close, but playing in Buffalo, I think I'm with John again. I think we lose this game.
What you got, Mark?
I think Buffalo's 1 year ahead of us, and they've got Josh Allen. They got a quarterback. We're fortunately not having to play them there in December, but I still think they have too much, and they're a year ahead of us. So we lose that game.
I agree. I think we end up dropping that game, and I think it's a tight game. I think it's a hard-fought game. It's one of those defensive games that people look at, and it's a measuring stick, but I don't see us happening. New York is hosting Atlanta. What you got, John?
Let's see. I have the Giants beating the Falcons.
Bob?
I got to go with Atlanta.
Mark?
New York and Atlanta. No, I'm going with the Falcons.
I'm just going to go with the Giants because as I look at how this breaks down, I don't see them starting 0-3. I know they're not a very good football team, but I do not see that team starting 0-3. I think that team's got too much talent on offense, and I don't think defensively Atlanta's probably the worst team they're going to play to this point. So if they're going to have one of those games where people look at them and say, yeah, this is what they did in the offseason, I think this is where it shows up.
I mean, that game's a coin flip. I can't argue with anything you just said.
All right. Philly at Dallas. What do you got, John?
That's a loss.
So this is a 1. So Dallas is going to beat Philly.
Yep.
Bob?
Easily.
Yeah, Dallas wins this.
Mark?
Dallas wins it, and ESPN spends half of their show showing Dak highlights.
You
Dak,
could
it's
not have
Zeke.
said it any better. So we are unanimous there. All right. Week 4, Washington's at Atlanta. New York is at New Orleans. Philadelphia hosts the Chiefs, and Dallas is hosting Carolina. Washington at Atlanta. John, what do you got?
We're going to beat them.
We are going to beat Atlanta in Atlanta.
Yep.
Bob?
Yeah. After losing to Buffalo, I don't see this team under Rivera losing 2 weeks in a row. I really don't. It feels a little bit like Gibbs, where guys get antsy after losing a game and then don't want to be around. So there you go.
Mark?
This is fun. Two things that I can't wait to see. I want to see Jamin Davis covering Pitts like he did in college, and that's going to be one of the big stories leading up to it. And Matt Ryan has been a great quarterback. I don't think he's a great quarterback anymore. I think he's a veteran quarterback who doesn't want to get hit. We're not the right team for him to be playing. We beat them down there.
No.
We beat them. Everything you guys said makes sense, and I've been a Washington fan long enough to know we're going to lose that football game because I can't explain why. New York is playing at New Orleans, week 4. John, what have you got?
They're going to get trumped or thumped.
They're going to get
correct. I'm not sure what trumped means, but it's bad. Very bad.
I see what you did there.
Well, Remember, they either have Taysom Hill or Jameis Winston as their quarterback. Drew Brees is gone.
Or
He is.
Trevor Simeon, right? Is he still there?
He might be. You still think New Orleans rolls?
Yes.
All right. Bob,
And it's the Kai Kamara show. New Orleans.
Mark,
What do we have? What do I have the Giants at so far? I've got them. I don't think they've won. They haven't won a game yet on my ledger, so I'm gonna have to, because they're not going to lose 4 in a row.
you had them beating Denver.
Yeah, you had them beat Denver.
Oh, I did.
Yeah, you've got them. Yeah, you've got them at 1 and 2 right now.
I'm at 1 and 2. I'm having a hard time with the spreadsheet. I'm old, man. I'm sorry.
I got you.
I'm struggling with this one, but I can't pick the Giants to win down and not in New Orleans. I think Sean Payton finds a way to get his team going, or at least early in the year. The Saints win.
I have to agree completely. I don't see them beating them. I just don't think there's enough there on defense. Jameis Winston is probably going to start at quarterback. He'll probably throw 4 touchdowns and then throw 4 interceptions, but Kamara's too good of a weapon. Philly's hosting the Chiefs. I'm just going to go ahead and do this. I don't think we even have to talk about it. Dallas is hosting Carolina.
Dallas wins.
You got Dallas beating Carolina, Bob?
Yeah, I think Dallas wins.
Mark?
Sam Darnold is not enough. Dallas wins.
Yeah, I don't see them beating I don't see Carolina beating them. But then again, just like I figure we lose for the inevitable, this is the kind of game that Cowboys just find a way to lose. But
That's also possible. Let's hope. Let's hope.
All right, week 5, Washington hosts New Orleans. New York is at Dallas. Philly is at Carolina, and Dallas is hosting the Giants. John, what do you got? Washington's hosting New Orleans.
I hate the Saints, and because of that one game a few years ago where we I won't get into it, but Mark and I, our DVR missed the last 3 minutes, and I think we were up by like 10 or 12 points going into the last couple of minutes, and later we found out we lost. We were devastated. So we're going to crush the Saints.
I can't argue with that logic.
Bob?
Yeah, I'm going to take the Skins, or the football team.
All right, I'm going. I think we find a way to beat New Orleans at home. I think the defense is too good. I just don't think the quarterback's consistent.
It's not the Dome. The Saints are a different team in the Dome.
Correct. New York at no, the Saints are a different team with Drew Brees. New York at Dallas.
New York's, man. They beat Dallas at home.
Oh, snap. Bob, what do you got?
Now, I think New York loses this. I think New York's a lot worse than anybody realizes.
Mark?
Not at Dallas. Not at Dallas. Dallas wins.
I think this is the ultimate letdown game. I think the Cowboys find a way to lose to the Giants. So this is a 1, that's a 0, that's a 1, that's a 1. Philly's hosting Carolina. What do we got?
Philly wins.
Philly wins. Philly beats the Panthers in Carolina for their second win. Nobody else has a victory for the Eagles. Bob?
I really feel like Philadelphia is going to win 3 or 4, and I got to find 3 or 4 on this list. So, yeah, we'll take Philadelphia.
Mark?
Yeah, I'm taking the Eagles too. I think Carolina's trying to figure out at this point whether Sam Darnold is their quarterback or not. Things are getting ugly.
I agree. They're 5 weeks into the season. So I think Hurts could have one of those games against that defense. After facing those at Atlanta's a softy defense, and you got San Fran. I mean, yeah, I can see that. Giants was already answered for because we did it through Dallas. Washington hosting Kansas City week 6. What do you got, John?
There's no way we're winning that game.
Bob?
And no, I think we lose it.
Mark?
I'd like to say yay, but I still have to think. Not until I see it, right? It's Mahomes. It's Andy Reid. No, we're not going to win that one.
I'm going to zig when everybody else is zagging here. I think this is when the defense shows up. I think this is when everybody looks at this defense and says everything we thought about beforehand was serious. I think we find a way to win that game. It might be a field goal in overtime or as time expires, but I think we find a way to win that football game. That's a
I
shocker.
just want to throw this out there. I think that there's going to be 2 and possibly more, 2 to 3 games this coming season that no one gives us a chance in, that we shock the world in. I really do.
And that's one of them that could be that.
As long as we don't then turn around and lose one of the games that the whole universe knows we're supposed to win.
Yeah, I know. I just picked us to lose to
Yes,
Atlanta
you
2 weeks
did.
before that.
Yes, you did.
Welcome to being a Washington football fan.
Yeah.
That's like what we do. New York is hosting the LA Rams. Sean Payton and the Rams coming to New York. What do you got, John?
Coming off their big upset at Dallas, they're going to lose that game.
Bob?
Yeah, the Rams win that. Giants lose.
Mark?
Rams.
Rams. I'm going Rams. Philly is hosting Tampa. I can go ahead and do that. Dallas is at New Orleans or New England.
So who's starting a quarterback for New England in week 6?
Bill Belichick.
5. Yeah.
I think the massive free agency spending spree is starting to pay off. So I think the Patriots steal this one and beat Dallas.
Bob?
Man, it's tough to bet against Belichick at home. It's really tough. I'm going with New England.
Yeah, if I'm 50-50, then the tie goes to the home team, who happens to be Bill Belichick's team.
Oh, wait. I'm way behind here. I'm messing up. I'm giving Dallas more wins than they should have. Yeah, I have to agree. I don't see New England losing to Dallas. All right. Week 7, Washington at Green Bay.
God, I want
The
to.
real question here is who is the quarterback of the Packers?
I want it to be Rodgers, and I want to kick his ass. But I don't think we do it. I think we lose the damn game.
Bob says we lose. What do you got, John?
No,
I
Mark
just-
said we lose.
I'm sorry,
think
I jumped the gun. I said they lose.
I think
Sorry,
that's
Mark.
another 1 year away on the road. I think we keep it close, but we don't pull it out. Packers won that one.
Bob?
Go ahead. You know you want to.
Washington beats Green Bay.
Nice.
Yeah, Washington wins this football game. This is, somewhere in here, this is that whole, what John said earlier, we're going to shock the world a couple of times when nobody gives us. And the Packers aren't the media darlings that Dallas is, but they're not far behind. Everybody loves the cheeseheads, and especially in the media. And I think everybody gets on the Green Bay train, especially if Rodgers is playing. And I think Washington comes out and punches them in the mouth.
I don't think Rodgers is playing. And I think we harass Jordan Love. I think that team goes down quickly because Devontae Adams is literally entering the final year of his contract.
So you think he's not playing like at all? He's not signing. He's not coming in.
No, I don't think so. I think he's at peace with himself, and I don't think he needs Green Bay the same way Green Bay needs him, and he knows it.
I'll bet you $1. I think he plays. I'll buy the beer next time we see you. I see you.
All right.
I think he plays too, but I think it comes in late.
Yeah, I think he doesn't want to come to training camp. He wants to come in the week before the first preseason game and be Aaron Rodgers.
$20 says he's got a playbook at home.
Yeah, that's why they're not panicked. So, all right, John, New York hosting Carolina.
New York wins that one.
Bob?
This is one of those games I hate. Carolina.
Mark?
The Giants win their second game.
Yeah, I have to agree with you too. I just think it's too much. I think there's too much talent on that Giants team to.
And it's Carolina on the road. I'm not feeling it.
Yeah, Philly at Vegas.
They're not going to win that game.
Bob.
Oh, I already have them winning a game against Carolina. I think they lose that one.
I really wanted to make my Chucky face when I said that, but I don't know how.
I wish I had a better handle on Vegas. The Gruden thing, man, it ain't working. But the Eagles, I don't think this is their second win. I think they go down again.
I think they beat Vegas. I think Vegas is probably one of those random 4-2 teams at this point. What are we 4-2 with that? Yeah, 4-2, and then that Chucky face, like you said. This is the first game on ESPN Sports Center. The next morning they show the Chucky face because they lost 26-19 or something. Dallas is on a bye week, therefore they cannot win. So we're just gonna leave that alone. All right, week 8, Washington at the Broncos. What do you got, John?
Easy win.
Easy win, not just a win, an easy win. All right.
That's another one where we don't know who the quarterback's going to be, right? Drew Lock, Bridgewater, Brett Rippon. I don't know who the hell the quarterback is.
Yeah, I mean, it's Denver always plays fairly well in Denver, but I think Washington wins.
I wonder if we stay out west that week, or at Green Bay and then at Denver. I wonder if Ron keeps them out there. If not, that's a lot of travel and going to an altitude game. I still think we kick their ass.
Yeah, I think we beat them. I think running a 4. Look at that. We're talking about 4 in a row, 2 out of 4, 3 out of 4, 2. I mean, this is an interesting run. And remember how we talked about early on? This was going to make our season right here.
That's the meat. That's the really tough 4.
And then coming up afterwards. I mean, there's some gnarly stuff here in the middle. But if we can come out 6-5, if we can come out with 5 or 6 wins after 8 weeks, we're in good shape, I think.
Yeah, I'll take 5-3.
Which, if you look, according to all of us, well, let's finish this week and then we'll see what happens. At worst, we're tied for the division lead after 8 weeks. New York is at Kansas City. If anybody says that Kansas City is going to lose to the Giants, is anybody going to rebut me on that?
Not this person.
All right, cool. Philly at Detroit. Matt Stafford-less at Detroit seems like for the first time in its millennium.
So Detroit does Detroit things about every other week. So I'm giving the Eagles another win there.
Ooh, all right.
I'm not going to try to explain it. I just have that feeling that.
I'm with John. I think the Eagles win this.
I can't do it. Even Jared Goff can beat this Eagles team.
I actually think Philly beats Detroit. That is a bad football team. Dan Campbell, I don't think he can even rally these troops. Dallas at Minnesota. Is Kirk Cousins in the final year of his contract, right?
He is. That's what
I believe that's right.
Dallas wins.
Dallas wins. Bob. Drum roll.
Yeah. I like Minnesota.
Mark.
I need Dallas to go down in flames. I'm picking it. This is the game they go down in flames.
How do you like me now?
I regretfully think Dallas beats Minnesota. Coming off bye week, I think they do it. I hate to say it, but I think they do it.
I think you're right too, but I'm holding it. I'm standing by my guns.
We're 8 weeks through. I have Washington at 6-2. John has Washington at 5-3. Bob 6-2. Mark 5-3. I have Dallas in second at 5-2 because they've had their bye week. John, Bob, and Mark all have Dallas at 4 wins. John actually has the Giants tied with Dallas for second place in the division with 4 wins through 8 weeks. Washington goes into their bye. New York is hosting Vegas. What do we got on New York versus?
I have the Giants losing that game against the Raiders.
Bob?
Giants win.
Mark?
Giants win.
I think Chucky did the Chucky face a couple weeks ago. I think they're going to beat the Giants. The Chargers. Philly is hosting the Chargers.
This is another Philly win.
Ooh, 2 in a row, like I had them coming into it. Bob?
Chargers.
Chargers. Mark?
I'm going to go Philly because they're at home in this one.
Philly at home. I think Justin Herbert lights up a terrible defense. And Dallas is hosting Denver.
Dallas is going to beat the Broncos, but it's going to come apart soon. Don't worry.
Bob?
Dallas.
Same. Dallas.
I am trying to give them losses. Yeah, I think they would.
They recover an onside kick that the other team forgets to pick up or some stupid thing.
That's the team they play next week, not this week. All right, Tampa Bay. Washington is hosting Tampa. John, can we shock the world? Can Taylor Heineke?
We figured out, you know what? They're not, we can compete with them. We're going to beat them. It'll be a close team, but we're going to beat them.
That would be all right. Bob?
Washington.
Mark?
Man, harder head. Yeah, I think we do. I think Davis makes a difference in the middle, and we cover some people for a change, and maybe actually hit Tom once or twice.
I can't do it.
Derek can't do it.
I can't do it. I have us beating Kansas City. Are you telling me we're going to beat Kansas City and Tampa Bay within a 5-week period?
No.
You're talking about if we win that game. If we win that game, legit, they're talking Super Bowl at that point. Right?
Well, here's the other thing. By week 10, we're all sitting around counting the injured reserve list on both teams, trying to figure out how much of a difference that makes.
That's true.
And by this point, luck is playing a big factor in that. So
that is true. All right. New York's on a bye. We got Philly at Denver.
Lose.
Philly's going to lose to Denver.
Yes.
That's going to be the loss of
and
the year.
freeze their ass off in the process, by the way.
Yeah. Denver.
Bob, I wish I would have put the dates on here. I didn't put the dates on here. Bob?
That's a loss.
Mark?
Yeah, I think Philly goes down.
Yeah, I think so too. Dallas is hosting the Falcons. Dallas
wins.
Dallas wins?
Yep.
Bob?
Yeah, I think Dallas wins.
Mark?
Dallas wins.
Yeah, I can't argue that. We're talking about they might, according to me, they just overtook us for the division. Everybody else has us either tied or ahead of them by a game. Washington is at Carolina.
Big win.
Big
And I'll be
time
there.
win.
I'll be there in the stands.
Oh, that's the lucky charm. You better have that flag as your shirt in there.
Yeah.
Bob, what do you got?
It's a win.
Mark?
I think Washington takes care of business and wins on the road.
I think
That'll be the Darnold. That'll be the Darnold benching game, by the way. You can mark that down somewhere.
Oh, I like it. New York is at the Bucks.
They lose that one.
What do you got there, Bob?
Yeah, no. I'm surprised you didn't just put zeros in there, dude. That's a loss.
I was trying to give the benefit of the doubt.
I mean, especially coming off a bye.
Well,
Yeah.
see, if Eli Manning was still the quarterback, I might take the Giants.
Well, Tampa's just lost to Washington. They're not going to turn around and then lose to the Giants also.
No, not at home.
All right, John. Phillies hosting Saints.
It's a loss.
Bob?
Oh my gosh, back around. It just feels like yeah, that's a loss.
Philly picks up their third win.
Yeah. I think that's one of those Jameis Winston snoozer games. Stinkers. John, Dallas is at the Chiefs.
Dallas loses to the Chiefs.
Bob?
Yeah, Dallas can lose that one.
Mark?
Their defense will be better, but this is Mahomes in Kansas City. Not a chance.
Yeah, I'm with
open
you.
air, and it's cold by then.
All right. Seattle comes to the nation's capital. Washington is hosting the Seahawks.
They never come here. I love that.
I think we lose that one. I hate to say it, but we don't have a good history against the Seahawks. And
Against Russell Wilson and the Seahawks. We
Yes.
can beat them with Matt Flynn. What do you got, Bob?
Seattle sucks on the East Coast. Oh, by the way, Richard Sherman just got arrested.
Well, he plays
Saw
for the
that.
Niners, so.
Oh, well, it doesn't matter. It's, you know, it's just another West Coast team, right?
That's right. Mark, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm looking at it. I've already got us coming off 3 in a row. I can't do it. I think Seattle squeaks it out against us.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but I think they do too, just because it's one of those.
Yeah.
New York is hosting the Eagles. John?
New York wins.
New York. Bob?
New York.
Mark?
Yeah, the Giants.
I can't see that. All right, so those are all zeros, and Dallas is playing against the Raiders.
Dallas beats the Raiders, but they better enjoy it because it's going to be a while before they win again.
Oh, snap.
Ooh,
Bob?
I like the foreboding.
Dallas. I'll
Dallas.
take
Mark?
Dallas wins.
Mark?
Yeah, it's a Dallas. That's a Dallas win.
Yeah, it's Dallas win. Washington is now at the Raiders, coming off a loss to the Cowboys.
Or a loss
You
to
got
the
John.
Seahawks team.
No, I'm talking about the Raiders coming off a loss to the Cowboys. We all unanimously agree that Dallas is going to win. So, what do you got? At Vegas.
We win that one.
Bob?
Coming off 5 in a row. They're staring at Dallas on Thanksgiving Day. I think this is one of those weird games that Washington drops.
We don't play Thanksgiving.
Do we not?
No,
Hold on
not
a
this,
second.
Not. I don't think we got the Thanksgiving Day this year.
Hold on. We can confirm. Can you see my window here?
I'm looking at week 14. That's Dallas. That's got to be pretty close to Thanksgiving, right?
What's the date? Can you see my screen, or am I
No.
just showing?
No,
I'm
all
still
we can
showing
see
the
is the
spreadsheet.
spreadsheet.
All right. No, Dallas is a Sunday game. December 12th. We're in December at that point. Thanksgiving is somewhere around week 11.
Oh wow.
Here, let me pull up.
I still think Washington's staring at Dallas the next week, and after they're getting a little cocky. They've beaten. I just see a letdown game.
The Vegas, the home game against Vegas is the for Dallas. This game right here. Actually, the week before is Thanksgiving, so now they've had a long layoff. Vegas has had a long layoff, and so has Dallas.
I think Washington loses that game.
All right, what do you got there, Mark?
I think we bounce back after Seattle. Take care of business.
I agree. I think we beat Vegas in Vegas. New York is at the Dolphins. What do you got, John?
They lose.
I think, yeah.
It's a big loss, too.
I'm just going to go ahead and put that in there. What do you got, Bob?
It's a loss.
Mark?
Yeah, I wish I knew more about Miami, but I know about New York. They're going to lose that game.
Philly is at Morgan Moses and the Jets.
Last win of the season for our friends up north.
What do you got, Bob?
Jamison Crowder goes nuts, and the Eagles go down.
What about Mark?
The Jets, man, that's going to be a fascinating team. What's the kid, the BYU kid? Yeah, but Philly's really going to be bad. I think the Jets win that one.
Yeah, I think the Jets find a way to win. And Dallas is at the Saints.
Dallas loses the first of 3 in the most critical part of the season.
Oh, man.
Wow, he just
some more
gave it up
foreshadowing.
there.
I hope they lose the first of 4. I'm just saying, because I see that fourth opponent too. What do you got there, Bob?
I think Dallas loses.
Mark?
I think Dallas beats the Saints.
In New Orleans.
Dallas.
Wow.
Actually, coming off Thanksgiving, I think they lose that game. I can't
Uh,
explain it. I just think that's the game they lose.
It's just not Drew Brees. I'm not sold on what they have down there in New Orleans.
All right, week 14, Washington is hosting Dallas. What do you got there, John?
Biggest win of the season. We beat Dallas.
Ooh, Bob.
Yeah, I'll go with a win.
I actually feel
Mark?
pretty good about this one. I think we win this one fairly handily.
Yeah, let's see repeat of 2020. How about that? New York is at, I believe that's the snap. I didn't even.
That's got to be the Chargers. You've got the Rams further up in the list.
Yes, that is the Chargers.
The Giants lose to the Chargers.
Don't trust the guy that made the spreadsheet. What do you got, Bob?
Yeah, New York should lose that. Going to the West Coast.
Mark?
No, they go down.
Yeah, I don't see that happening. Philly's on a bye, so the best thing about that is they don't lose that week.
Yeah.
And we already know, apparently we're going to sweep the Cowboys on that week. So Washington, week 15 at Philly. If we win this week, according to all of us, we have at least a 2-game lead with 3 weeks to go in the division. What do you guys got? John, what do you got?
Second straight NFC East win for Washington.
Bob?
Yeah, it's a win. I don't see Philadelphia getting by Washington this year.
Mark?
I think we split with the Eagles. This is the one we drop.
I have to agree with Mark because it's the NFC East and the points don't matter and you can't keep score. New York is hosting the Cowboys.
Giants lose. I'm sorry. Giants win that one.
Ooh, at that or hosting Dallas. Okay, at New York. What do you got there, Bob?
New York loses that.
I'm with
Mark?
John. I think this is New York's biggest game of the year for them. I think they beat Dallas at home.
I think we are feverishly watching this game, hoping that the Giants can beat the Cowboys, and I don't think it happens. Because if my math is correct, John and Bob have the division locked up for Washington at this point, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, we'd have. Yeah, if I'm right, in both places, Washington's got a 4-game lead. John's got them with a 3-game lead and 3 to play.
And they have the tiebreakers.
Right.
It's not locked up on mine because you haven't heard what I'm going to say. It looks better than it is.
Well, they have to win it.
No.
Well, no, that's not true. That's not true because if Washington loses out and Dallas wins out, then they have to go to some sort of a point spread tiebreaker, right?
Yep.
Or division record, maybe. All right. So Phillies. I have Washington losing. All right, that's updated. And Dallas is this is a 1, that's a 0, that's a 1, that's a 0. All right. Actually, that's not true because I hadn't updated Dallas yet. So technically, it's still alive by a fingernail. All right. Washington is at Dallas, week 16. A win here for John and Bob locks the division down. And
Dallas is good. And I mean, they're not
and actually all
still
of us
alive at this point. So I have us dropping that game.
Same.
All right.
I think Washington drops this one.
Mark.
Dallas is playing for their season here. This is the one they get.
I hate to say it, but I agree. So yeah. All right. New York is at Philly.
New York beats the Eagles.
Who cares? Sorry.
That's not an answer, sir.
Yeah, I think New York beats I think New York's a better team than Philly is this year. I think New York.
What do you got, Mark? New York.
No, I'm going to give that to Philly playing at home.
Yeah, I think that it's New York or Philly. 1-0-0-1, and then this is we all think they win. Oops, too many. All right, Washington hosting the Eagles.
We're
Week
gonna
17.
we're gonna beat the Eagles to clinch our second straight NFC East title.
It's a win.
Yeah. What do you got there, Bob?
Yeah, it's a win.
Mark?
They don't sweep us. We win at home.
Hold on, Bob. You realize that if we have 11 wins at this point, Ron Rivera is lining up at linebacker, right?
No, I still think we win. I
do too.
All right, look, Philadelphia is so bad. I'm pretty sure that we could rest about half that defensive line, and I don't know. That's kind of how I feel about it. Again, injuries. We'll see.
Yeah.
Giants at Chicago. John, what do you got?
Giants lose that one.
Giants lose that one. All right.
Yeah, Giants lose.
And Mark
Fields is playing and he's having a lot of fun. The Bears win.
I agree with that, which means we already know this answer. Philly's going to lose all of those. Arizona. Fix that.
Dallas.
All right.
Dallas is robbed by the referee.
Whoa.
They lose on a bad call late in the game.
Oh my gosh, John wrote a whole narrative for these games.
Called fantasy.
He
Fantasy.
played it on Madden, is what he did. All right, what do you got, Bob?
I think Arizona. Dallas.
Arizona. Kyler Murray comes through.
Yeah.
The Cowboys at this point, because let me see something real quick.
You know this
Cowboys-
is going to matter. It's going to be impactful. So that's why they're going to lose it.
By the way, just to point it out, the week before we played Dallas, that's a primetime game. That's a Sunday night game. The game Dallas against the Cardinals is a 1 p.m. game. So we're playing head to head on that point. So they don't know whether or not we've locked them. We've eliminated them. What do you got, Mark?
Man, I think playing on the turf there in Jerry's Dome, and Kyler Murray runs around and makes things happen. I think the Cardinals take that one.
I'm gonna give it to Arizona just because. Yeah. All right. Washington at the Giants.
We are resting half of our starters and getting ready for our playoff run, and we lose it. We drop that one.
Bob?
And we never. When's the last time we swept the Giants? I mean, I don't know. Was that a Matt Turkey year also?
Probably.
If there's
Stephen Davis, didn't he run for 400 yards against them?
If there's one place I hate to play on the final day of the season, it's New York. So
yeah, but you love to do it when you have 12 wins and you've already locked up the division.
Well, yeah, and I just think Washington loses that game. Yeah.
I'm going the other way. I mean, the Giants aren't playing for anything at this point. So yeah, I know they'll be playing loose, but if we need that game, we don't lose it.
I think we exercise the demons. I think we win this football game and we win the division. I think this is it. Normally, we found ourselves when it comes to the Giants, we found ourselves on the opposite end of that spectrum. When we play the Cowboys or the Eagles to win the division at the end of the year, we find a way to do it. But for some reason, the Giants, I think we exercise those demons. New York, this is obviously a redundancy, so that's 0-1-1-0. Dallas, Philly. Philly's hosting the Cowboys, potentially with the division on the line.
Philly loses, but it doesn't matter because it's game over for the Cowboys.
Yeah, Philly loses.
Dallas wins that.
I agree, and that would mean no. Wait,
Mark said Dallas wins.
I said it backwards.
So that would be Philly losing.
Right. That's don't trust this guy. I've had enough bourbon.
Oh, it would be helpful if I would say it the right way too.
So we have a sweep of the Eagles at the end of the year, right?
Wow.
So you're telling me
Derek and Mark have us tied with the Cowboys at the end of the season.
Comes down to tiebreakers, right? And because I have a splitting with them.
So do I.
So we'd have to,
It's division record, right?
I think that's the first tiebreaker.
Yeah.
Or after direct.
So I have us beating the Giants. 2, 3. I have us 4-2. Meanwhile, the Cowboys are 2.
I have us 4-2, it looks like.
Also 4-2.
Then it's common opponents record, right?
Oh my God, this is gonna make my head hurt right now.
Yeah.
You're just wasting your time, man. We got 2 games on them. It ain't gonna be a
Well,
problem.
common opponents. We beat the Chargers. They beat the Chargers. We beat. Wait, they didn't play. No, they don't play Buffalo. Atlanta. They beat Atlanta. We did not beat Atlanta. I'm not liking this. I might have to change my prediction. We beat New Orleans. They lost to New Orleans. And that's all right. So now we have the nod again, or we're tied again. Kansas City. I have us beating Kansas City. They lose Kansas City. Nod to Washington. Vegas. We beat Vegas. They beat Vegas. New Orleans. So I have us with the tiebreaker at this point. Mark, you have them losing to the Chargers. You have them losing to New Orleans, don't you? No, beating New Orleans. Kansas City, they both lose. Vegas, where's Vegas? We beat Vegas. They beat. I think you have us with the nod also. Just a quick. Well, that's what we're gonna say because this is a Washington podcast, and I hate the Cowboys. So, anyways, theoretically speaking, Washington wins the division in all of our scenarios, right?
Yes.
And Dallas competes but falls short due to tiebreakers. Is that? How do you guys feel about that?
What happens?
After that, if we win, we host a game.
Win the division, yeah. We either host the number one, what is it, the wild card, or we get the bye, depending on.
I think the rationale for, I know a lot of people, there will be people that make Dallas the favorite and have made Dallas the favorite. But I think what you have to look at is if you assume that our offense is going to be exponentially better than it was with a hobbled Alex Smith or an ineffective Dwayne Haskins under center. If you make that basic assumption and then you look at our defense, which got much better and it was already pretty damn good, I don't see Dallas being able to put the kind of pressure on people that they'll score. Dallas has a really great offense, better than our offense still, I think. But I just don't see them being able to contain teams. So I think I think it's legitimate to say we're a 1 or 2 wins better than them on paper. Whether that happens in reality, I don't know.
I think Dallas got exponentially better on the offensive side of the ball with the return of Dak Prescott. I don't think they've gotten exponentially better on the defensive side of the ball. And so they're not, of course, we're leaving special teams out of this, which we talked about, the last 3 podcasts, right? But I just, yeah, I'm with John. I don't see Dallas being able to keep pace simply because of the defense. That Dallas offense is going to go out every week knowing they got to score at least 30 points every week. No matter how bad the competition is, the offense knows they got to go put up 30 points. And I just don't think they do that week after week after week after week.
Last year, their defense is what held them back. They've gotten better, but not. It's going to take them a while. They got a bunch of kids playing. They'll be better, but not better enough early. We come in with a defense that should at worst be as good as it was. It should be an upgrade over what we had last year. And our offense, arguably on paper, should be with some solid quarterback play and better speed on the outside. It's hard for me to envision Dallas be more balanced and sustaining throughout the season enough to take the division.
I think it's going to be a battle, though. I think that offense is going to scare some people, but I'm looking real quick at what I predicted. I predicted them to beat the Chargers. They could lose that game. I predicted them to beat the Vikings. They could lose that game. And I'm talking about Dallas. I have them beating Atlanta. They could lose that game depending on the offense. Same thing with Vegas. So there's a lot of games, a couple games in there that I just picked them to win for the Dallas factor because it sucks, and we've all been there. Washington schedule, we have some brutal games, but if I'm looking at it, there's only, if you want to say at Buffalo, Tampa, I took us picking Kansas City, but in all likelihood, we very well lose that game. Other than in maybe Seattle, the rest of those games, if you really want to look at roster versus roster, I think we have the nod. And how long has it been since we've said that? So we could go 11-6, and Dallas could go 11-6, or we could go 10-7, and Dallas could go 8-9. You know what I mean? Like it could easily swing that far. So I at the end of the day, I think it's going to be competitive. We all have Dallas within a game or two of us.
And Bob,
We
you've
all
mentioned, sorry, Bob, you've mentioned injuries several times. Dallas
Mhm.
is they need to stay healthy probably more than we do. I suspect our roster is deeper. We get down towards the end of the season, we'll find out. Not only do they have a bunch of kids, but they're going to have a bunch of kids who, anyway, that's just going to be a whole lot of turnover there. There will be injuries. Their whole season turns on Dak Prescott. Keep staying upright.
It does turn on Dak Prescott. And the nice thing is that I don't believe the same thing is true for Washington.
Yeah.
If our starter goes down, we've got two other guys that know the offense and can play. I mean, we've demonstrated that. So that's
And on a similar level. And they were so hindered with their offensive line last year. You saw it. I think honestly, the O-line getting hurt had more to do with last year than Dak. If they had their all-pro O-line in front of
Andy
Dalton,
Dalton's
I think they probably still,
Dalton's not a bad quarterback.
Yeah, I think they're a lot more competitive. I think the emphasis is on more of the O-line than it is on Dak Prescott.
I agree with that. Just listening to what's going on down here and what people are saying, I totally agree with that concept, Mark, that Dallas is thinner, than Washington is. And that, how long has it been since we really felt good about the guy behind the guy at any position, at any position? The only guy on this team I'm really worried about losing actually at this point in time is Chase Young.
Well, I was looking at our roster that way. I would say they got two positions that scare me depth wise. One is tight end. We got Logan Thomas, and then a big question mark.
Right.
And believe it or not, at defensive end, as strong as we are,
It's not deep.
We've got Young and Sweat, but the depth charts behind them are kind of iffy. We got a bunch of kids and people that you don't really know about. We need Young and Sweat to stay healthy, and these young kids to give them a break once in a while.
But something a lot of people are talking about with that defensive end position, because I've heard people say that that's not the depth position. That's the part where the weakest. Here's the other thing you got to think about. If Sweat or Young goes down, knock on wood, obviously you hope that doesn't happen. You've got three guys on the interior that can play outside. Ioannidis can play end, and he can play end effectively. Same thing with Allen. And they might not be Chase Young pass rush, but you're talking about a very versatile defensive line, which is what Rivera and company have built. So I'm not saying that I'd be okay with Chase Young and Sweat going down. Obviously you want them, so that's the powerhouse. But God forbid that were to happen. I think we can move pieces around to compensate for it.
I have faith in Del Rio to figure out how to get pressure on the quarterback if we start having problems at the defensive end position.
Yeah.
I think we've got other ways to get pressure to the quarterback. It's really nice when you can play 7 in the back and just rush 4, and we're in a position to be able to do that. But if injuries take that option away from us, I firmly believe that Del Rio will figure out how to get pressure on the opposition quarterback. And I think the secondary is good enough to hang on for an extra second to give that pressure a chance to get there.
So the one thing that we didn't talk at all about, not that we need to talk about it tonight, but I just wanted to mention it, is coaching. And you have McCarthy, who has yet to prove that he wasn't just the benefactor of Aaron Rodgers for 14 years or whatever it was.
Truth.
You've got a brand new coach in New York and you've got Sirianni in Philadelphia, and all these coordinators, some of whom are new. So I think that's going to be the big wild card, and I think we are in really great shape on the coaching front.
You know, we really, I think we talked about it individually in the individual podcast, but we've never really stated this outright. Washington's the only team with consistency at the head coach, coordinator positions, and the vast majority of positional positions. You know, New York and Philadelphia had a wholesale changeover, and Dallas changed out a significant part of the defensive coaching staff over the year, over the offseason. So we've got, for the first time in how long, you can honestly say that, you know, Washington's returning the most talented coaching. Well, the most, I don't want to say the most talented. How about the most
Cohesive
and confident
and known quantity coaching staff in the NFC East. I mean, granted, we could end up facing a couple of rock stars in New York and Philadelphia and not know it. Maybe these guys are, you know, the next Dick Vermeil or the next, you know, who knows?
Joe Gibbs.
Right? Joe Gibbs. I started.
No,
to say
they're
Joe
not
Gibbs.
allowed
What,
that.
They were both
They're
special
not.
teams
They're
guys,
not
right?
allowed to have that title.
You know, they were both. Well, no, actually, Sirianni wasn't a special teams guy. Sirianni was an offensive coordinator, so I guess he could be the next Joe Gibbs, right? But the other guy was a special teams guy.
Joe
so I was
Judge
trying
is
to think of special teams coordinators that went on to be head coaches, right?
Marcia Broda.
So if Dallas, according to my prediction, misses the playoffs this coming year, I wonder if he stays there. I wonder if
McCarthy?
Yeah.
There's
How
way
many
too
wins
much talent for them.
How many wins did you have Dallas with, John?
I have them at
9.
with 9 wins.
Yeah.
9 wins, and that's
Yeah.
You don't think that's good enough for a wild card?
It's a 17 game season now. I don't. Maybe
9 and 8.
but I
That's
think they're
9
going
and
to
8.
be on that
You're in
line.
the same. You're in the same conference as Seattle, Tampa, San Fran, Arizona.
See, I think Seattle's in more of a precarious situation than Dallas is, if in terms of injury. You know, granted, Russell Wilson has been incredibly durable, but I think he means more to Seattle than Prescott does to Dallas.
I agree.
How old is Russell Wilson now? Do we know? Because he is going to fall off the table at some point. And
He's got to be pushing 30, right?
I think he's into his early 30s. I think.
Is he?
I think he's Here, I can find out real quick.
32 would be my guess. But.
He's not. He doesn't move like he did for even
John
2-3
nailed
years
it.
ago.
32. He'll turn 33 on
32.
November 29th.
Wow. God, now I feel old because it feels like Wilson came into the league like yesterday.
Yeah, it does. Start taking a look at some of the days that these guys playing for our team now were born.
No, thank you.
So
I have that problem, and I have that problem watching my football team.
There you go.
You know, and they're starting guys born in this millennia.
Yeah.
So we could all be delusional guys, but we came out fairly consistent. The only real outlier as far as calls that we made on season records was I have the Giants much better than you guys do. I gave them
You had the
8.
Giants at 8.
I even think New York could be the second place team when the dust settles if Prescott can't stay healthy. It could go the other way with Judge and no defense or whatever, but
So I tell you, the cognoscenti don't agree with us. I was looking around earlier today at what the predictions are, what Vegas thinks, and all that. They've all got Dallas edging us out.
of course.
And now that may just be hype, but if that's what the guys in Vegas are saying, you need to listen to it. I think
you
it's
got to remember the guys in Vegas are in business to make money.
Correct.
they're
They're
not.
not in business to pick the
So
games right.
I
They're in
agree with
business
that.
They
to
want
you
the
to put
money
your
on
money
the
down.
Cowboys.
I agree. I agree with all of that. I'm just saying we all agreed, and I think going into this, I knew we were all going to say Dallas or Washington, Dallas, and then New York, Philly. I think we all came up with that, right?
Yeah.
And we could have done that ahead of time, but it was fun to break down all the games.
No, John. No, actually, here, I can throw this back up here. I have Washington 1, Dallas 2, Philly 3, New York 4. John has
I've got Washington, Dallas, New York, and Philly.
right,
What I've got.
but yeah, I guess, and then Mark had New York and Philly tied at 5 wins.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I actually have the Giants. God, I only gave them 3 wins. That's pretty bad.
Mhm.
I don't know if I agree with that. Don't tell me though. So I think it's gonna be a wild season. I think there's a lot of factors.
So if I may, what's the date today? This is July 15th. How
Yep.
about we do a quick reprise of this after the 4th preseason game, or after the 3rd preseason game, excuse me.
Season preview. We can do
Yeah.
that.
I think we got to revisit it and see what we've seen in camps and preseason that might change our minds about anything.
And any changes in the rosters.
Yep.
Cool.
Season-ending injuries.
There's definitely going to be some week-to-week smack talk based on tonight. I'm just saying.
Oh,
There
hell
will be.
yeah. Hell yeah.
There's a lot of
I mean,
absolutely.
I made
You may have to-
asterisk games where you guys openly mocked me.
Derek,
Did you? Which one? Which one?
I don't know. I didn't really.
You know, just to make the smack, just to bring it home a little bit, maybe you need to take a screenshot of that spreadsheet and post it in the forum.
It's
yeah.
going on the forum.
There you go.
That was the point. It's going to go up on the thread with the podcast, so everybody can reference it.
Hell yeah.
Nobody can hide from their prediction.
Which
I
is
think
why
they-
I'd like.
We should ask members to post their predictions as well. So
I got
Absolutely.
$10. Says after you put it up, Ryman blast me for 12 wins.
No comment. I'm not even going to open that door. All right, boys. As always, it's been fun. I think we're at about the 90-minute mark at this point, or shortly
Yeah.
there before. So I appreciate everything, guys, and we'll see
All
how
right,
this
guys.
plays out.
all right, good job.
All right, brothers. Next
Good night,
time.
boys.